So this third video of story elements is going to be on conflict. Conflict has this glue in for, again, it's a flap. Make sure that you leave 2 lines for this top that you can glue over. So conflict is our story fuel or the propellant. It's the thing that takes our story forward, right? It helps us build the rising action. So here are 5 different types of conflict that we're going to look at. Man versus self, man versus man, man versus society, man versus nature, and man versus technology. So underneath this flap, I want you to write these things. There are 2 types or 2 categories of conflict. One is internal, and there's only really one type of internal conflict. It's man versus self. For example, making a hard decision. Should I forgive my friend? Which college should I go to? Should I play baseball or lacrosse? So it's these decisions that as a character, we're watching them decide in their own head, like, oh, what should I do? How should I handle situations in my life? That kind of thing. The other kinds are all external. So it's man versus everything else. So I'm going to give specific examples of each type of conflict that we have here that we're going to talk about. So like man versus man. This is one-on-one or one on like a small group. It's like Harry Potter versus Draco Malfoy or Harry Potter versus Draco Crabbe and Goyle. Because it's just basically a one-on-one conflict. Harry and Draco don't get along. They butt heads. They like try to get each other in trouble. And that propels the storyline forward, creates tension sometimes because we're like, oh no, Harry's going to get in trouble again, he's going to get detention again, or Draco, yes, we want him to like get what he deserves. So that's our man versus man conflict. Man versus nature is when the character faces anything to do with nature. It could be a force of nature, it could be weather, it could be an animal. So, for example, if you read the book Hatchet, Brian, the main character's plane crashes, and he has to figure out how to survive in the wilderness because he doesn't have food, he doesn't have, like, the conveniences that he's used to, so he uses his hatchet to, like, build a fire and kill things and figure out how to survive. So, it's Brian versus the wilderness. The wilderness has the ability to kill him if he's not working hard to overcome that. Man versus technology is kind of like on the opposite end of the spectrum. This is a conflict where we're fighting against a man-made machine type of thing most of the time, right? So this could be like as simple as dealing with computer issues or Wi-Fi problems to as something as complex as the Maze Runner, Thomas versus the maze. The maze itself has this ability to like move and react and respond to Thomas's choices, and it tries to like crush him, and it tries to keep him trapped in the maze before nightfall so that he doesn't make it out alive. Then we have man versus society. This is our final type of conflict. Typically we don't see this as much in like fiction writing, but we do see it in real life quite a bit. So the difference between man versus man and man versus society is that society is to do with laws and institutions. So for example, Martin Luther King fought against segregation and to overcome that and to change the laws that kind of kept them in place. So that is a man versus society conflict. If you have any other questions, make sure you come talk to me about them. I know this is like a really brief description, but I think you'll get it. Make sure that you get what you need to out of the crate.